Hi, this is Scott Vorthman, the author of vZome. I'm here tonight to show you a new feature called working planes. This should make your life quite a bit easier, particularly if you're building large models and you want to build quite a few struts that all lie in a single plane. So if you're familiar with vZome, you'll know that the current means of building struts is to drag from a ball, and as you move the mouse around, you're moving a trackball, an invisible trackball that essentially has that preview strut embedded in it. Now this can be a little bit hard to use, particularly when the preview strut is pointed away from you. So one benefit of using the working plane approach will be to get an easier way of building struts in general. So I'm going to build a red strut. So I create my red strut using the existing metaphor. Then I right-click on it to bring up the context menu, and I use Set Working Plane Axis. It's very likely that by the time you see this video, you'll be able to do the same gesture on a panel to set the working plane axis. Now that I've done that, this checkbox is enabled. I'm not yet using the working plane, and I won't be until I check the checkbox. So if I drag another strut, you'll see that the same trackball metaphor is in play. If I do check the checkbox, it's a very good idea to just immediately click the All button, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Now, when I drag from a strut, you might notice that the mouse location is quite simply mapped to a direction in the vZome space. This makes it very natural for building struts. In essence, you're drawing on the working plane in a very direct way. Now this is a lot easier if the working plane is facing you rather than edge on. It still should work, but it gets a bit hard to see what you're doing. So generally the best thing to do is perhaps turn on the snap and get the working plane facing you head on. And then it's very quick indeed. You sort of have the most freedom for the mouse in dragging out your struts. Another thing to notice about the working plane is that it's actually not a single plane, it's a family of an infinite family of parallel planes. So for example, I can start from this other ball and build a set of struts and build the same structure pretty easily. So the actual plane that you're dragging in, that you're building struts in, is determined as always by the ball that you start dragging from. But the plane you're constrained to is also determined by the working plane axis. That's really about all there is. Oh, no, I should fill you in why you want to turn on the All button. Let's imagine that I didn't turn it on in this case. So if I go back to single mode, now the only strut direction I can use is red. Well, it turns out there are no red struts that lie in that plane, orthogonal to a red strut. So rather than trying to figure out which struts are orthogonal to which, it's generally just a good idea to turn them all on and let vZome help you determine what struts are available. For example, if I build a yellow strut for a moment and set my working plane to be yellow, then I have quite a few options available to me. Oops, I haven't turned it on. And let's go ahead and look at this ball and snap to that yellow direction. Greens and blues are available. And it looks like that's about it, which makes sense. So that's it. That's the working plane mode. I hope it makes your vZome modeling much more enjoyable and productive. Thank you.